It's me, Jessica Perez-Beebe, and I am going live here on my business page, Coach My Mindset, which I have not done in a while. I've been going live inside of my private group, and I just have so much valuable content that I want to share, and that people have been reaching out to me on, especially on social media. I have a big following on Instagram, and I've been interviewed on a bunch of podcasts lately. And people have been reaching out, DMing me, sending me private messages, and letting me know how much what I've been talking about on these different shows and podcasts have really been supporting them. And so I said to myself, I got to get out there and get in front of more people and get back onto my Facebook group. So typically I reserve this content for the people that subscribe to my group, but I am here in front of you now. And my commitment is actually to be here live once or twice a week. If I get people here joining live and staying with me and letting me know that it's been valuable for you. So, Paul, thanks for telling me you're here from Nova Scotia. Awesome. So great to see you here. So what we're going to be talking about today is the difference between a high achiever and a high performer. So I want you to let me know in the comments which one you think you are. And then as I go through and give you the contrast, I want you to let me know if you still feel that way, right? So a lot of times people use this information interchangeably and or use the term high performer and use the term high achiever interchangeably, and they are not the same thing. So I'm curious, do any of you know what the difference is or which one you identify with? I would love to hear that. So for those of you who are new, really quickly before we jump in, I'm Jessica Perez-Beebe. I am a pro athlete. I'm an entrepreneur for over 16 years, a multi-certified coach. I've trained under some of the top business and personal development leaders, including Tony Robbins. And I work with exceptional leaders, innovators, executives, entrepreneurs, high achievers who want to hit their next level of performance. They want the accountability. They want to be consistently challenged, right? Because typically the people that I work with are super successful, and they're already the most driven in their circle, and they're already motivating everybody else. So it's like, who's going to motivate me? Who's going to hold me higher? Let me know that I've got more inside of me. Who's going to call me out on my stuff, right? So I have become a go-to coach really for some of the most successful leaders out there when they're losing focus, or they need to reconnect, or they want to go from good to great to unstoppable. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because the difference between a high achiever and a high performer is what will take you from good at what you do to great at what you do to unstoppable at what you do and who you are. Okay. So if you are someone who is successful, admired, respected, right? You're a high achiever, and your to-do list shows tasks, commitments, promises, all of these things, right? People come to you because you get things done, even things that you don't need to be doing. Then you can typically consider yourself a high achiever, right? You're constantly busy. And I know, because this used to be me, right? Like wearing your busy like a badge of honor. You've got the long to-do list, you're checking it off, you're busy all the time. But at the end of the day, you end up exhausted, right? It's like you feel like you've done so much, but you have no idea what you really accomplished. Do you ever feel like that? Because that's how I used to feel. And here's the thing. You're leaking energy all over the place. You're leaking creative energy. You're leaking productive energy, because your focus isn't narrow enough. You're so busy being busy that you're actually missing the important things that move the needle in your life and in your business, right? So as a result, you end up compromising personal relationships. You don't actually get the things done that are important, and you're worried that deep down inside you aren't actually living up to your fullest potential. and that you don't have the time to get everything that you want done. Do you ever feel like that? Paul says yes. So Paul, that is an example of a high achiever. You are so busy doing. You've got all these ideas and you're out there and you're executing and you're taking action, and that's great. You're doing more than most people, right? And on the outside, people are like, man, this person is, got it together. But on the inside, you know that you're not even close to your potential, right? You know that you've got so much more inside of you. But here's the thing: most people that you're around, because your bar is so high and theirs isn't as high as yours, they're not going to be able to call you out on that. They're not going to be able to see it. And listen to me when I tell you, you can be more than just a high achiever. You can be a high performer. That is where the difference happens in your life. That is where you start to level up. So high performers experience success at every level, right? Spiritually, financially, high performers focus on what's important. So think about a high achiever a high achiever gets things done, right? They have a long task list. They feel good when they cross it off the list. But the thing is, that is a false sense of accomplishment. Having a list of things to just cross off, it's a false sense of accomplishment, because typically what doesn't make that list is the important stuff. It's the book that you've always wanted to write. It's the business that you wanted to start, right? It's the project, the passion project that's been on your heart. Everything that makes the to-do list is urgent things that are already going to get done anyway. Check email, go to the store, do the laundry, all of these things that as you check them off, you feel like you're accomplishing something. But at the end of the day, why do you feel burned out? Why do you feel like there's still so much left? And why don't you feel satisfied? It's because those things don't really matter in the big scheme of things. So yes, as a high achiever, you get things done, but they're rarely the things that move your business or your personal life forward. Do you understand that? Does it make sense? Most high achievers are overwhelmed, they're stressed out, and they're running on empty. They're masters at multitasking, right? They can do many things, but the problem is that none of them are getting done really well, and none of them are getting done to completion, because high achievers often, lose focus, right? And they use those long lists to avoid facing their fears, the fear of the big things. They know they could be more, but that fear is holding them back. And that long to-do list, I'm telling you, I used to have it. So I know. I was known for that long to-do list. It's a symptom of that fear. It's the fear of pursuing your biggest desire, your biggest dream, right? It's the fear that you'll never accomplish what you're capable of. It's that imposter syndrome, the scarcity mindset, right? And that's a crappy feeling, because every high achiever has the potential to be a high performer. And here's the difference. High performers don't just do. We don't just get things done, but we aim for meaningful results. We're intentional about how we spend our time, our energy, our creativity, whom we spend it with, right? And we focus on what's important, not busy, not urgent. I teach my clients to focus on one or two most important things for the day, and they decide that the night before. They don't decide it the morning of. So it's about being intentional. High performers are led by their bigger vision, right? And they trust their creativity. They trust their intelligence, their instincts. They have a strong mindset. And here's one of the biggest keys that is missing for a high achiever. High performers build solid and supportive teams. Do you hear me? We build support in our professional life and in our personal lives. High achievers, on the other hand, tend to be lone wolves. They want to do everything themselves, or they believe that they can only do it as well as they can do it, right? And so they take on so much, and you end up feeling stuck. You end up feeling overwhelmed. You end up feeling like there's never enough time. Your relationships start to suffer. You start to get into the scarcity mindset of there's not enough, or I'll never reach my potential. That's the difference between a high achiever and a high performer. High performers are also successful in their relationships. They have mastered time. Time is not a fear. Time is not something that holds them down. They have a deep understanding of their why. So being a high performer is not about doing, and crossing things off the list. We can be high achievers, but that doesn't mean we're high performers. And so as you've been listening to this contrast, I want you to be honest with where you see yourself. How do you identify right now? Do you identify more with a high achiever who's just focused on the next, check mark, who's focused on the end result, as opposed to a high performer who is focused in the moment? Because high performers know that the only way to have the win is in the moment. It's in the moment. It's in that day. So how do you stack that, right? How do you get grounded in that? It's the tools. It's the productivity tools. It's the habits. It's the people that you surround yourself with. I'll never forget when I had one of my first businesses, one of my first companies, when I owned a gym. And that first year and a half, I was so caught up in all the doingness, right? I was so caught up in doing everything. I mean, I was doing everything in the gym. Talk about lone wolf, right? I was cleaning the place. I was doing the sales. I was, tracking the money. I was doing the front desk. I was coaching the classes. I was doing the programming. I was writing a blog. I was, I was doing all of these things. That's an amateur mindset. That's a high achiever. It's like, yes, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I got all this done today. But at the end of the day, what did I have? I was exhausted. I was burned out. I was making mistakes. And that's what high achievers do. But when you shift into, I'm ready to become a high performer, that's when you start to build team in your personal life and in your professional life. That's when I started hiring housekeepers and started hiring people that were clients of mine, training them, mentoring them, started bringing in people to do administration and take over, the monitoring of the programming and creating the programming and all of that, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm not above those tasks by any means, but I did realize they were keeping me from going from good at what I was doing to being great at what I was doing. And now I'm unstoppable at what I do because I've built the habits of high performance, right? I don't get burned out. I don't get overwhelmed. I'm not fearful about time. I never feel like I'm running out of time because I don't try to do everything in one day. I focus on the important things, the bigger picture, and then what are those small, repeatable things that I can do every single day, repetition, routine, that actually build up to the big results, and I build in recovery, right? High performers know that we need the downtime. We need the recovery time. We build in off days. We build in off weeks. And we build team to do all of these other things that we don't need to be doing for the simple fact that it's just making us feel like we've accomplished something. And I'll tell you, as I've shifted into high performer, and this is what I coach my clients to do, because when they come to me, they're already winning at life. They're already successful. They're already the most driven in their circles. They're already crushing it, but they're at a point where they're plateauing. They're hitting a wall. And that's because you can only operate in that high achiever mode for so long. And when you can't anymore, you will feel it. You will feel it physically. You will feel creative drain. You will start to see a financial kind of stalemate. You'll get some growth, but then it's going to plateau. Your personal relationships, you'll start to see them being strained, perhaps your health, and you'll start to lose your way. You lose focus and you starting over and trying different things, right? Instead of staying with something and going deep and going all the way. And that's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. So if you are a high achiever, you identify as a high achiever who is focused on getting things done, and you're ready to step into a high performer where you focus on the big picture, but then you do the daily actions, the small actions that actually get you the big results. Because here's what has happened with all of the clients that I work with. They are now doing so much less in their day and actually getting far greater results than they were before. I mean, I think of someone like I just had a call with Linda and the week before that, Mike. Both of them, were thinking that they had to be doing so much stuff to create this one small result. And after an hour of us talking and just mapping out some things and me trimming the fat, because as a high performer, it's about subtracting things from your day, subtracting things from your life and your to-do list. You get that? It's not about adding, it's about subtracting. Once we started doing that, it's like, it was this big block and we just chiseled it down. And then you saw this, beautiful statue, and both of them saw how easy it now was to get what they wanted and how much harder they were making it on themselves by taking on more. So if you're ready to move into becoming a high performer, you've got to think about, what do I need to let go of? What do I need to subtract from my day? You need to toss the to-do list and start getting really intentional about what are the big levers that are going to make a difference, and how do I build a team around me? That could be, in your household. It could be a nanny. It could be a gardener. It could be someone to do the yard work. It could be someone to do your shopping. It could be someone to do the cleaning. In your business, it could be a personal assistant, an online assistant, even somebody that just does 5 hours of work a day so that you're not doing these menial tasks. It could be hiring a coach. It could be joining a mastermind. I build team around me everywhere in my personal life, in my business, and in my fitness. I don't do anything alone anymore. Do you hear that? I don't do anything alone anymore, except for my whole creative, thing that I do. But even that, I sit down with my team, and then we produce, 10 times the result that I had on my own. So I want to know if this has helped you. Hey, Paul says, this is awesome advice. Great. I'm happy to hear that. Let me know in the comments if you identify, or which of these do you identify with, high achiever or high performer. I want to see, who's watching this and who I'm talking to. And let me know, if you are a high achiever, are you committed to being a high performer? And what I shared here with you made sense about how to actually make that transition? I hope that it has. Let me know in the comments. I'll come back and reply to any messages or any questions that you have. And I look forward to seeing you on the next live with Jessica next week. So turn on your notifications if you want to be notified when I go live. Bye, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a great weekend. I take off on Fridays. High performance habit, recovery. See you soon. Bye.